A lot of allegations were thrown against me. The same thing, hotel in Dubai. And prosecute me. Anybody who serves in public office should be prepared to be accountable. And that accountability must start with myself. President Akufo-Addo himself said it.
Jai fana for makwaba edi by THEO GH so YouTube channel papa edi no kredi edi adwuma nsam ne ba sa de amam no hwehwem ya fifi mu ni adom suko no ye de no kre no edi aba an ye mpese bi twantro njes we nche na ye frɛ ye to nsa frɛ court na abi kobo dua enti no ye hwehwem yi ansa edi aba this year eye election year an eye 7th December ye kopus no ekoto aba echusu eye presidential candidate an na eye almost omkwakota parliament no so ye chusu omo na we na obiade na nsem dwa edi tudwa ebi mu good message eto asum out mu say no obabie ma obeye oman ni yie ebi mu so ti akonwa no so dada their promise dada no ko mu nyanwie so promise no still ebi kwa na ekoso se Ghana for your promises nti omo promise ya na ekoso na we na eye enra ye papa eye John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the incoming president. Meet the press. And tansi which you say akukudro esan e good vision ne comeback nim unim minkasa enche mitwa me ho aba me ba ye beko details na etie ni nsam ni bi okaye ebi muso nam na am say possible and then possible am say possible mitwa me ho aba Kwamankasi fwe inyo oye war parliament chief order oye Kwamankasi traditional area no na waso me fra won na mbode wuri nchire won de ori ye ni anniversary checheche oye Omanhin of Kwamankasi traditional area ona aso na oye president of Kwamankasi traditional council ona na order no oye okakabin indum ando the 10th ina osimintun krenam from honde oli baba ya ni lunch ni oye 25th anniversary na anniversary no san obe lunch anniversary oye 13th July ya ode yenimi oye Saturday ya oli bay inyo nti oso lotunsa oda frɛ obia ya be no oye Ayaldo Delba Park oho na another grounds oho ene ye be ye
but enya Ayaldo nkwa o abrodo nkofo baby Patwako for baby, Asafana for baby, Kwaman for baby, Mankesim for baby, into Bia owo Abra Asebu Kwaman district. Mama yeni na yembochi, na yankosim ewo Ayodo, Mimi Kobi, Kwaman na mifi. Me Kwaman nipa.
Masuburu Kobi dating on your 13th July in your 13th July ewo Ayaldo Delba grounds wa na me say obey ye time no 10 a.m. sharp 10 a.m. in the Jumedini na shasing agruzifu wo na me say team what ye Jumedin what say ya education oye ye wumasua ya hwe peace oye asumdwi ya wi ya hwe security oye ye bambo ni na na say ye bo hwe ne ya address ni na nti menka ho man yu fim wo na wombra na yemfa support yemfa mbo oye nana na omanu ontumpon say information bia nso so a fredam number bia na leba na aye kwan fred number 0544 243807 nyo efra wo be frɛ na bibia wo hu hyehyɛ wo bia what me say agrofo na oho be ye dwede me say ye wazo yo azi wo fie so a oye womra ne yenhwimom na yema oye Kwamankasi na yema Kwamankasi oye traditional area no onye krabahwe Yomo akwaba bi mede ba THEO GH so na me catch say Suman Motors na asomase mede dwumade e de brɛ se opese oton wo car oso apo car ana otoka ai ko Suman Motors no wankasa be bibia e de ama se woti abrochire na wo yusu car ache ai Ghana woja car no Ghana ha wo baaye no wo feel say ayedada wo hia new one Suman Motors wo ai onu obedi nkomo wo de ba wo de dada no kwa obegine wo man foforo na wa top up kitu bi na burger asan ye fresh ai owo Galleria any amanfom in between on the Goil filling station no na ye opposite so person friend no so a the number no ye 0241 44 5884 ai ofre eye Suman Motors obeje so na waboa kama bibia bekoso kama edi amount yeah politics there they be ameka me say eno na govern kroi because na mo ye politics kama me politics kama nkoye den upo politicians no na shemra no ma edi so upo omnom di temo dia kro no enko nti eden a ye beka ho asem omo ya de papa yebeka omo ya de boni a yebeka yenko na yenko hwe eye video ni bi eye Endra eye the incoming president and his excellency John Dramani Mahama eye Omiti press no na ye hwe nsema Captain Smart mo ene bi mo journalist no ebisaye momenko hwe video no na yemra.
With regards to what is happening in Kenya, I don't think that we have to wait for the backlash of what the youth did in Kenya for us to do the things that we have to do. And that's why I started talking. I said, look, the time has come for us to act, and that it can't be business as usual. The Kenyan youth have sent a signal to the whole of Africa that they will push back if the leaders don't do the right thing. And so definitely I'm signaling that it will not be business as usual in our new administration. We'll cut out waste, we'll cut out opulence, we'll bring a code of conduct for public sector, public appointees, especially political appointees, in how they behave, in terms of their modesty, in terms of their humility. Your appointment to that office is an opportunity to serve. It's not an opportunity to lord it over the people. And so our political appointees and public office holders must change their attitudes. And so that is what we're going to insist on, that people that we appoint are modest people, they are humble, they will open up to the people, and they'll do the things that will make the lives of our young people better. And so we're going to hold them to a higher criteria of service than people have been held to in the past. And that's why I say, if you agree to serve, you must serve and not have other side businesses and do other things. You must not go and buy state property. Anybody serving in my government will not be allowed to buy a state asset. Nobody serving in my government will buy a state asset. Vehicles or cars or buildings or land or anything, nobody serving in our government will be allowed to buy a state asset. I am a Christian and I belong to the Assemblies of God Church. Ordinarily, building a house of God is something that we all do. I contributed monies in my local Assemblies of God branch to build our church. And it's created an environment for us to praise and worship our God. But I don't condone stealing in the name of God. And that is what has happened in the case of this National Cathedral. It is instructive that members of the Board of Trustees, some of the members of the Board of Trustees have resigned, and they have called for a forensic audit of the National Cathedral. I'm not saying it. Members on the board believe that fraud has been perpetrated against the people of Ghana, and they are calling for a forensic audit. At the time this National Cathedral came up, it was somebody's personal commitment to God. And we are sure that public funds were not going to be used for the National Cathedral. Unfortunately, we hear that 300 and something million has gone into it. Where did those payments go? Were they justified? Who did they go to? These are all things that we have to unravel. And I think that that is the first thing we do before we even decide what to do with that huge pit. And so first, let's investigate and do a forensic audit. And if people have, illegally and unlawfully taking the monies of the people of Ghana, they must be made to refund those monies. And so that's the first thing I'll do with regards to the cathedral. Yeah, Titi Medase. Say, question I will say, no, idea, may I know, ewo baby bre. Meso me ka say, idea, ye, say, abain eba, na a shasye, any impuntunjuma, ewo baby bre, ebi a market, and a school, and a hospital. Ube unse abain for ba, na a chese, omu drink, say, omu discussion wa, credit no ebe ko abain da dan in chain. Into no more tregu, na omu anka sa omu akoshe, omu diase. Na meka se nyame ya adom ne eba sika ye wo ye de behwe saa empuntunjuma ne bebre aka a che se ye twa egu na ye de ye sika hyem ne etimi ewie saa njuma no ansa ne ya hya ase ene foforo enti meka se district bia ye be inventory of all projects a che se aban aban ekọ ne na omagya egu ho na every year budget a ye be bia ye be yi sika egu nchen it was a Yadibi Saint Jumano. 4 years, Mewa Bemu, Mayor President, Afibia, Yadiscabe to home, Senebeya, every district in Juma, a Wawa, it was a Yaja Atum Rimuno, Yadisacano, Abetwaso, na Yevi, and Sanya Sha Senefofro. Because Soko Bibria, classroom block, Yenye, wobɛhu na assembly aka sɛ oh yɛhyɛ ase ne a classroom block foforɔ anka sika a yɛwɔ no yɛmfa nwie nea yɛnwieɛ no ansa ne yɛhyɛ ase ne foforɔ nti ɛno me ne woyɛ adwen sɛ abandoned projects ɛwɔ sɛ yɛhwɛ na yɛyɛ nea wokaka ho ne taxes and levies ampa wohwɛ adeɛ baako a ama Ghana kane na yɛsɛ yɛyɛ favorite destination for investment ɛne sɛ na yɛ taxes ne levies ɛwɔ fam kakra nso afei nso deɛ ɛm sɛ sɛnea aban yi ama yɛ economy no ahwe ase no IMF program a ɔmo kɔɔ mu no IMF aka kyerɛ ɔmo sɛ yɛto a yɛgye anaasɛ revenue a yɛnya no ɛwɔ sɛ yɛpagya ɛkɔduru 24%. Kane ne ɛwɔ 15%. Taxes a ɔmo de ato yɛ so yi apagya yɛn aba 17 point something percent. Nso ɔmo sɛ by 2028 ɛwɔ sɛ yɛduru 24%. Nti ɛkyerɛ sɛ ɔmo nya nwie saa taxes na ɔmo de gu yɛ so no ɛnya nduru pɛmpɛn so a yɛbɛka sɛ ɔmo awie. Nti na ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo de VAT ɛto electricity so. That was one of the reasons. Nso ɛnyɛ sɛ TU sɛ mo ɛko tia yɛ a anka by now electricity bill bia anka VAT ɛda so. Yɛn kwan ne ɔman a ɛwɔ wiase ha nyinaa a ɛkyɛ sɛ yare aba ɛkɔ a yɛgye yɛtoɔ ɛfa saa yare no ho COVID levy. COVID aba ɛkɔ China bebia COVID efrimpo yɛn gye ɔmo COVID levy. Nso Ghana kwan ne yɛgye COVID levy. Nti saa nneɛma no wohwɛ emissions tax ɛne saa taxes ne nyinaa ɛyɛ to a aban ɛde to yɛ so as a result of IMF agreement a ɔmo ayɛ. Nti na obi ka sɛ oh me ba metwa ɛtoɔ no mu wo aban no mu sisi a sɛ wobɛtumi atwa toɔ no mu a hyɛ ase na twa namato ɛtoɔ no mba from ne ehu menka sɛ ɔmo ntoma miansa me ba saa ɛtoɔ yi meyi efiri hɔ nti nea woka no ne nokorɛ no no one of the things I ɛbɛyɛ ne sɛ yɛbɛ streamline VAT because menti aseɛ sɛ wobɛkɔ edwom na nkurɔfoɔ mmiɛnsa ɛtɔn adeɛ baako ɛyɛ VAT 3%. Baako ne VAT ɛwɔ soro kakra. Baako nso VAT yɛ 21%. Meanwhile, ɔmo nyinaa the same customers. Nti sɛ me ba wɔ hɔ na wobɛgye me VAT 21% a mɛkɔ ne ɔbɛgye me 3% no. Nti ɔsi yɛ streamlining so that traders ne nyinaa will pay the same rate in terms of value added tax. Afei nso wokɔ port hɔ a sɛnea wokan no Toyota Vitz. Ɛda no me ne gutafoɔ hyiaeɛ. Me for an example of car bia obia import and me kind levies and taxes also about 23 levies and taxes. So what has a duty any san your manner and no you harmonized ECOWAS tariffs into duty no want to mean. But the problem the levies and port charges are illegal. And I say about we rationalize all those levies. Ye ni say wo hono ye be ye free ho. Send a bear, from Kakra. But the major thing I was saying is we have to stabilize the currency. Because it will affect BIA. One of the reasons I'm Krofoesu, and they said this week we na currency no, yes, Bank of Ghana say currency no, exchange rate near say, into start one on the Abejo port. The next week we na CD a free ABA 14 about 15. Into start one now in CDs no, nature say a cost. Into one of the priorities of government will be to stabilize the currency and stabilize the economy. Senebeya obia asombejono. Into emse emoya memanono. Universities. What are we going to do about tertiary educational institutions? There are many challenges there. One of them is that students don't have enough hostels to live, and so they have to go for private hostels, and the private hostels are expensive. And so one of our objectives in our manifesto will be to accelerate the building of hostels. And we're going to do that with private sector. The universities have lands, and so we can engage the private sector to build hostels, and we and them will agree on the fees that should be charged in the hostels. The government alone cannot build all the hostels to accommodate the students. But there are Ghanaians who have investable funds that they can use to provide hostels. If you go to the universities today, what they'll take you through in terms of eligibility to build a hostel, they want to see your bank balance, they want to see this, they want to see, so many things. It makes it difficult for the private sector to come in. But if we apportion some land in every university and say people who want to invest in hostels should apply. We'll go through the criteria fairly and transparently and allocate the lands for them to build so that our students can get accommodation. That will be one way of doing it. Aside from that, we'll uncap the GET fund. This government has capped the GET fund. And so any money that exceeds a certain statutory threshold goes into the consolidated fund. And so the GET fund is not receiving enough money. Apart from that, 60% of the GET fund has been collateralized with the Dachi bond. And so only 40% of a capped GET fund is available to continue projects. And so we'll uncap it and we'll liquefy the GET fund so that it's able to continue to do the work it's doing. To ease the pressure on students, we will enhance the student loan scheme. Recently, I heard the administrator of the student loan scheme say there's a 50 million Ghana cedis funding gap. And so they are not able to accommodate all the students in terms of the loans that they give. And so government must enhance the loan scheme so that the quantum is enough to be able to take the students through, but is also able to cover as many students who need that support as possible. And so those are some of the things we'll do for tertiary education. THEO is a shame and a disgrace to our country. This was a flagship project by President Nkrumah, and it was one of the first refineries to be built in Africa. Today, THEO is a pale shadow of itself. When I came, I did my best. I restarted THEO. They started refining products. Indeed, before I left office, our first shipment of crude from our own oil field was given to THEO to refine. And then we left office. The new administration came. That shipload of oil sat in the tanks for years. Eventually, they discounted it and sold it out. And THEO hasn't worked since then till now. All THEO is surviving on is the revenue it gets from the single buoy mooring facility that offloads petroleum products and their storage tanks. That's all. Aside from that, the refinery has not been working for almost more than 6 years of this government's administration. And so when I say we'll come and we'll revamp THEO, it's because it is an important industry for the growth of Tema. It's an important industry for the prosperity of Tema. And there are a lot of young people who can find jobs with a refinery that is working. And so we'll strategically work with any strategic partners who are available to revamp the refinery and even expand it. THEO has extra land to accommodate even another refinery. And so if we have people who are ready to invest with us, we would let them come on board. We will have a stake. They also will have a stake. And they will not only revamp THEO, but if they can even build an additional refinery to increase the capacity of THEO, it will be a good thing. It will provide employment, and it will also make the cost of our petroleum products more predictable. Because if we are refining the crude oil ourselves, we can lower the cost of petroleum products. But if we are importing from outside, we must accept whatever price we get on the international market. Fiber cuts. Yes, optic fiber got cut and the internet was disrupted. We have several submarine cables that provide service to Ghana. We don't know exactly what happened, but there was an undersea cut that affected the cables. And so they've been repaired now, and so we can have connectivity. But luckily, technology is always progressing. And so the cost of satellite internet has come down. And due to Elon Musk and his Starlink and other such producers, you can buy a Starlink dish and get internet connectivity. And so it gives us a quantum leap to be able to send internet connectivity to places that we didn't dream of before. And so in our schools, in our government offices and other places, we can go and put these satellite dishes there and give them instant connectivity. And the rates are quite affordable. And so many private people have even started using satellite internet. And so the technology gives us more possibilities to create universal access in our country. We even have domestic fiber cuts. When they're doing road construction, they cut the fiber links. And so we also must be careful how we protect the fiber that we have. Let's see what else. I think we are done. Achimota Forest.
Achimota Forest and Airbus.
Yeah, Achimota Forest.
Yes, sir.
I mean, a lot of allegations were thrown against me. I've been out of office for 7 years and 7 months. You think that if this government had anything they could stand on with how they hate my persona, they would not have prosecuted me for it. Airbus, the president referred it to the OSP, and the OSP is supposed to investigate it. You don't expect me to investigate myself. And so, if they had something to stand on, I'll not be standing here today. The same thing, hotel in Dubai. I challenged them. I said, let's go and find that hotel. I myself am in need of money. We'll find it, we'll sell it. You give me my small share, and government can take the rest. Till today, $10 million for diaries. President Akufo-Addo himself said it, that my government has spent $10 million to import diaries. They've been in office for 7.7 years. Where is the $10 million for diaries? And so I've challenged the MPP and the mudslinging and the lies they've told about me at every juncture to come up with proof of the allegations and prosecute me. I am an adherent of accountability. And I've said anybody who serves in public office should be prepared to be accountable. And that accountability must start with myself. And if they have any allegations that they could prove, they would have done so by now. It's just a political gimmick. When elections are coming, then they start raising all kinds of issues and all that kind of thing. But I remain focused. My commitment is to fight corruption. And if I come into office, I'll hold their administration to the high standard of accountability. And those who serve in my administration would also be measured by the same yardstick. Yes, I
Thank you, sir.
And then Achimota Forest and looting of state lands and others. I've said that no person who accepts to serve in my administration would be allowed to buy any state assets. When you finish serving and you go and you want to do whatever, it's your palaver. But as long as you're an appointee under my administration, buildings, lands, vehicles that belong to the state, you are not going to be allowed to buy or invest in any state asset. Thank you.
We enya bias, mama yenfa bias semon tonche. We jina nche obeka se ain and saying wako NDC nti wo kasa na wo kasama NDC dabi enye se me kasama NDC. Ye na yanyi adwene da yetrim. Adwene e da yetrim. Yenim nyansa, yenim papa enim bone. Yenim de ekoso e wo Ghana ha. Ya soansuo asoansa. Yehu dia ewom. Yehu amamuo mu ene yehu amamuo mu. Na yehu die wom. Yehu NDC ene yehu MPP. Ena yehunu die wom MPP na da so te aban yi so enyoma nkoyie yamse yenka no kra se wote wo hwem na ka se koyie a na wo yo trofo enyoma nkoyie because even Omanpanyin na nkwasa kasa His Excellency no eye Akufo-Addo wagye atum se enyoma nkoyie ba omi agye atum se enyoma nkoyie MPP for ministers na agye atum se enyoma nkoyie minumie no so agye atum se enyoma nkoyie but afi ye be move to election year Yekope kendifo message na omde ba no why dey na to wasum it is possible ana ho chene ewom na yema mbeto aso ba omia so obeti petrol so obeti we so be se oba obeyi harbor tax free so pacho mumbisa me say oni Akufo-Addo na te ho oda ho ye vice intade no ntu Akufo-Addo fo say pacho Ghana fo osu ye bre inti taxes no Messi me ba meti so but they starting to see na Ghana for who say the American ye no kre. It will never happen. And no chair say the okay no dadaye. And you no ka chair asofo say me ba metu asofo ka. Ni 3 days, ni ko bisa no baby o say there be na me ka the dada om. Such person, you trust no. Driver ne kre hunsu na ni mate. Me say Ghana ye politics and ye democracy no. Ye sua na enyini Yenya president, enya president system from a year revolution a year time. Ye war soldier abemu yasesa aba a year democracy. Ni na no yesua. Afina yenya president ano siso. Wako. Osan ba biem. Musa nsu. Afina yenya president osiso. Wako. Na osan ba biem. Ya president omsiso omko mo ma biemu. Iti we no kra no. I say Ghana for na ye embrace na ehu say okay yan hwe ebi okotena nchen no wasesa enyoma bia na wo free say anko yie ama wo ebia na wasesa Now we take us and so to say, I respect the man. Me try to say, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Me try to say, because in some na okay kano, a chess and part wabe disubium na bana obano or then the sign can see a pa eba. Original gase, oh no abada and no abada. Me bow if you na timuno. Sometimes papa 4, mommy 4, it me a mistake, no ma correct mistake. I don't think that's why mistake, but could your papa beam, and now your mammy beam. Madrin no. Sabi say kwasia na nse sana dwen. Kwasia e na nse sana dwen. Intermediate me say makande ye akire eye adasa. Se mu betia muntie. Se e pese Ghana etu ne efa ne ntoma pafra. Ni ye move forward. Ye move forward. Uma ye nsan kɔ. Ni ma John Dramani Mahama emewie ne 4 years no. Na ye nhwa ade. Na ye nhwa ade. All right, ahana mdimu besi na minchia ye grad satipo. Our Belgium turnout on any body na esti nam jifa na ye Edem na Betty. Michechi omu hina minchia ye grad satipo biem na menda na se papa. Gra efua medekuku melo efua ahwa no akokama tekama. Sanso na minkoko fodia ai gradis niaba ko ho feno eye kafui. I cafe on so or yet to say akuma pe kuta gradis eno abi ene kuta cafe michechia obibia Mr. Suman michia Mr. William Kufu I daddy I'm a godfather michia papa 1 2 di next video ubeti with sell as kwenu thumb up sounds na me cameraman I'm editor me bibia ye ni Henry ni minim de so de but ni na minim pa I or a good say no you say when I won back as a so above. You say okay I had them do best.